Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to the Hot Seat. In the Hot Seat today is the Director General of Civil Aviation in Sri Lanka, Mr. H.M.C. Nimalsri. Good evening, Mr. Nimalsri.
Good evening.
And thank you for being in the Hot Seat.
Thank you.
Actually, reading the press, it seems to have been rather hot for you. I think we'll ask you those questions first, shall we, and then get over with that. You've been accused by some of the papers of various things. One is the appointment of some individual connected to a minister. Another is to do with your travel to various overseas links or events in which they allege that you've overstepped your authority and spent more money than you should. And how do you react to these allegations against you? Is any of them true?
No, certainly it is not true. Basically, as you said, I am accused by certain papers, not all the papers.
That's right.
But I have to say that those are baseless, malicious comments.
Right.
Basically, to throw mud at me for various reasons which are obvious to, I think, the people who wrote and who supported.
Right.
In regard to your first thing, employment of a person related to the minister, I did not do it on my own. In fact, we have gone through the entire process.
Right.
Honorable Minister wrote to the Chairman Civil Aviation Authority requesting some appointment to be made. So we presented it to the Board of Management. We have 8 members in the Board of Management.
Yeah.
So in fact, the request came through the Secretary to the Ministry. So we forwarded it to the Board. Board approved it, and I have acted as per the Board directions.
Right.
In regard to second matter, you said that I have abused my authority. In fact, there was an audit query. Because it was on me, I told the Chairman, you conduct an independent investigation and reply. So he got his team of officers to go into details and found that I had the authority to travel on business class. It was on cabinet paper. We have a document for staff rules and administrative procedures, and that had been approved by the Cabinet of Ministers.
Right.
So that document allows me to travel on business class.
Right.
And on the other hand, as the Director General of Civil Aviation, if I start going on economy class, some airlines would not allow me to do that. Airlines will upgrade my ticket and I would be under obligation.
Right.
So by setting this thing right, I think I am independent to carry out my duties without any bias or inclination towards any airline.
I see.
And also, in regard to that particular article, I think said that I have used additional money.
Yes.
So that again was looked into by staff, and Chairman has personally attested that there was no misappropriation or any fraud or misuse of my authority.
Right. Will you be seeking an apology from the newspapers concerned, or do you not think that
If it is
they're
a
worthy?
decent writer, I would certainly seek apology. But I knowing the status and style of their writing, I don't think I should react to that. Because we have very respected media like you, where we can go and where we can come and explain as to what really happened.
Well, actually, thank you for getting that out of the way. We can get back to the main business then. And that is, the Sri Lankan government now have, the war's behind them. Now they've got a new war on the economy. We have a new government, much hope about Yapal and so on. And so the main focus appears to be to try and get as many people in here, the tourists, I suppose. How can we achieve that? We seem to have limited airlines coming in here. We have the announcement that the national airline is dropping some of its routes into Europe. All because of cost cutting, apparently. But is it cost cutting, or is it a short-term measure really that's going to have long-term effects? Who's going to fly these people in if the national airline is not going to?
Yeah, in regard to your first comment that the government is aiming at promoting aviation,
Yeah.
I have to say that it will happen in big scale in time to come. In fact, ground is now being set. In that context, I think I need to mention at this stage that we are going to have the 53rd conference of the Director General of Civil Aviation from 1st to 5th August next month. And for that conference, His Excellency the President as well as Honorable Prime Minister both have agreed to come along with our Minister. That really reflects their commitment to aviation. And also, in addition, now work has already been commenced to revisit the existing aviation policy, which will allow more and more airlines to come. So we were adopting somewhat restricted aviation policy where other airlines' request to increase frequency was not looked at positively.
Right.
Now, under this present arrangement, we have been told that we should look at the overall benefit that the country would be gaining over the national airline. Sometimes there have been occasions we did not agree with the national airlines concept or request in regard to our policy in respect of other airlines' request. Now we are extremely open for the foreign airlines request to increase their frequency. Thereby we encourage them to come. But there are certain matters which are yet to be corrected. One thing is in regard to we have high ground handling charges.
Yeah.
So we have to make ground handling competitive because airline industry is not making much of profit. So every cent counts to them. So in order to make the operations viable, we have to minimize the cost and allow them to make more use of their air time by improving the ground efficiency. Now for that, ground handling would be efficient and airport would be efficient. Now airport can handle only 8.6 million passengers. It is with great difficulty because the design capacity of the terminal is about 6 million per annum.
Okay.
So now government has started expanding the air services in the sense terminal building, and that particular work will start sometime September or November this year. So that will make the handling capacity of the Bandar Naik International Airport to 15 million.
Okay.
And it will increase some of the checking counters, aircraft parking bays and various constraints that we are faced now.
Yeah.
So thereby countries setting the pace to invite more and more airlines to come.
Right.
And at the same time you asked the other question in regard to Sri Lankan. I think Sri Lankan has to first look at themselves because they were in a financial crisis.
Yeah.
So anyone who is in financial crisis should relook at themselves and reorganize in such a way that they would be in a strong position to compete with their strong competitors.
Right.
Now, unlike other business in the country, the airline is not in a position to come out immediately because they have to compete with strong international airlines which are having deep pockets. So in that context, I think Sri Lankan is doing right thing because the foremost importance is to turn to some sort of administrative system which they can manage.
I see.
So in that context, I think the repleting or the restructuring exercise that they have embarked on would make the change in my view.
We'll take a short break from the hot seat. Don't go away. This is, after all, the hot seat. We'll be back. Welcome back to the hot seat, and in the hot seat today is Mr. HMC Nimalsri, the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka. So you say, Mr. Nimasri, that it's key to make sure that it's affordable for foreign airlines to come and land here and so on. There was a time before when the national airline had the monopoly on ground handling and on the baggage handling and so on. So foreign airlines coming in here were basically held to ransom. Has that changed?
Yeah, it is going to be changed. In fact, first step has been taken already. Thereby, government is going to get the exclusivity from Sri Lankan Airlines and going to ask Airport and Aviation Services Limited also to get involved and to form a joint venture so that it will be more competitive and business responsive rather than airline controlling everything on their own. I think that is the first step, and perhaps in my own assessment, if we can have two people to be competitive, the benefit would be more to the foreign airlines.
So you say the first step's being done.
Yes.
I was a bit interested in your statistics, where you said that the airports are designed to take 6 million and it's now taking 8 million. But when one travels through the airport, one doesn't get the feeling that this airport is buzzing and it's busy. Is that because of the way it's been designed, or what is it? It doesn't give us the illusion that.
No, basically we have to forget. I think we should not forget the fact that we started in a small scale and did all this expansion piecemeal.
Yeah.
So when you develop any infrastructure in a piecemeal manner, of course it will not cater to the real need, and people and the facilities have to be arranged in such a way that we have to work within the given infrastructure.
Yeah.
Now, for instance, even though we have made certain improvement in the capacity handling of the terminal building, when you go towards the immigration counters, especially departures, you see there is a bottleneck.
Yeah.
That is not because of the inefficiency of the staff, but because of the infrastructure limitation that people cannot queue up.
Yes.
Yes.
It's rather short.
Yes. So finding a solution to that is not that easy, and so in fact already some sort of interim solution has been worked out. So arrangement is that all these the departure immigration counters to go upstairs and make the waiting room bigger so that passengers would not feel inconvenience. So improvements take place, but the airport development, especially terminal building development, is not an easy task. It is much similar to buying shoes for children. You cannot buy large shoes and also not a smaller one. So it need to be always something ahead of what is needed.
Yeah.
And at the same time it should continue to happen. But in our country, the airport terminal expansion did not take place continuously. So that is the problem.
Right.
But I think now it is being taken care of.
And in terms of cost, because I don't think the general public really know and are able to comprehend this, but now that there's no war and so our safety is, there's no question of risk. So is it cheaper now for airlines to fly into Sri Lanka? Is that like a war premium, or is that now not there?
Yeah, I think there is no insurance premium for the war risk.
Right.
And also from intelligence, there is no risk to aviation, as we have got to know.
Yeah.
So in that context, I think people will fly to Colombo without any fear or hesitation.
Right.
And at the same time, aviation fuel price in Colombo those days used to be higher than the prices in the region.
Right.
Now recently I look at it, it is also made very competitive in the sense on par with the other stations.
Right.
And the ground handling will certainly improve. And I don't think there is any impediment to travel now.
See. So on that side it's looking good.
Yes.
How important was Mattala International Airport for our country?
Yeah, basically, Mattala, now whatever it is it's now government asset.
Yeah.
No point of talking back
Yeah.
and criticizing it. We have to make use of it.
Yeah.
So I think for that also we have taken the right decision in the right direction by calling for expression of interest. Now it is already open. Thereby the government has invited prospective investors to come and give us proposal, not only in respect of what we have proposed,
Yeah.
but if they have their own proposals, that is also accommodated. So sometime there may be someone who will come up with something
Yeah.
which we have never thought of, which will make that to be a profitable business venture.
So you're open to all sorts of
Yes, and also the government has already declared that all 9 freedoms would be made available
Right.
to any airline operating out of Mattala.
Right.
So every attempt has been made to make it alive and profitable to the country, but like any other airports, it takes time to come
develop.
to. Yes, yes.
And do you see a scenario? Is there a case to privatize the management of the airports and so on, as opposed to for a government to run it?
I don't see any move towards that direction, and also the necessity of privatizing the airports has not yet been identified because it is not considered to be a problem. So airports I don't think would be privatized. But in regard to Mattala International Airport, even some sort of a private consortium government may probably look at positively.
How possible is it, when you examine the global aviation picture, what are the possibilities to persuade some airline to use Mattala as a hub for their activities?
Yes, certainly. Now with this expression of interest, we expect that also to happen.
Right.
Because when we give assurance that any airline coming to that place can exercise the freedoms of the air up to 9 freedom, I think sky is the limit. Because you can come up with a foreign airline and start operating out of that airport to any airport in the world. So that itself is a good thing. For the time being, what is I think the lacking thing is that expeditious connection between the 2 airports.
Right.
That is why now we are planning a resurfacing program of the Bandaranaike International Airport from 6th January to 6th April next year. 3 months closure during 8:30 to 16:30 period. Because runway is in condition of resurfacing. Now when we discuss with the airlines, especially with foreign airlines, why you don't go to Mattala, they were talking about this logistic problem. They say, okay, we can go to that place, but after you start the operation, you have to come back again to get your connection. And now our connection time is more than 5 hours. And it is by road yet, and air connectivity is not present.
Connected time to
Mattala and Bandaranaike International Airport. So those are the infrastructural deficiencies which prevent that being developed. But if we can have a highway or the railway with fast connectivity, probably these 2 airports can work together.
I see. So Mattala does have some potential.
Yes, certainly, because it is more closer to all these tourist resorts and destinations. But there are various inherent problems also. Now, if you look at why Mattala is not being promoted, our local travel sector is used to make not only by tourists being brought, but also by providing them ground transport.
Right.
So they like visitors to come to BIA and use their ground transport to go around rather than going directly to Mattala. And also there are certain places which are used to entertain these the foreigners when they come and visit.
Yes.
So they like the current practice to continue. So
Right.
there is no promotion on their part
Right.
to bring airlines directly to Mattala.
I see. I see. So there are various sort of vested interests.
Yes. Yes.
But long term, was it also a requirement of ICAO to have a second facility, like
Runway.
like a second runway,
Yeah.
and that is Maptala.
No, basically any airport should have an alternate because in the event the planned landing cannot be made at the destination,
Yeah.
it should be able to fly to a alternate which is reasonably around. So in that context, Mattala is now good because it is only 23 minutes away from BIA by air. Earlier we used to fly either to Madras, which is about 1 hour, or to Male. So that when you have alternate airport far away from your planned destination, you have to carry a lot of fuel to go to that place in case diversion happens. But most of the time diversion doesn't happen, so it is considered to be a waste of fuel which can be converted to a payload
Right.
in the event a close by alternate is available. So from that point of view, I think Mattala has helped not only Sri Lankan Airlines but most of the foreign airlines to reduce their operational cost by reducing the payloads.
See. On that note, we'll take another short break from the hot seat. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Good evening and welcome back to the hot seat, in which today we have the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. HMC Nimalsiri. Mr. Nimalsiri, so there is hope, the future is looking bright. What should we go for in Sri Lanka to attract the world's airlines here? You're building terminals, we've got a second airport, so capacity-wise we seem to be getting there. How do you now attract the airlines of the world to start coming here?
Yeah, there are many means of doing that. One thing is to revise our aviation policy, where we will be giving traffic rights easier than earlier. I told you that it is already being done.
Yes.
And now there are 5 freedoms in regard to air travel. Basically, that is the most important thing is the third and fourth freedom. Third freedom is that you pick up passengers from one country and bring and disembark them in another country. Fourth is just the reverse, where you uplift the passengers from that country to your own country. So those kind of traffic will definitely promote the air routes between the two countries.
Right.
So we are going to open it up completely, because we like more and more airlines to come. Therefore we go for open skies policy with all the states for third and fourth freedom. But when it comes to fifth freedom, we have to be little careful. Fifth freedom is that you uplift passengers from one country and bring them to your to another country, and from there you pick up passengers to another country.
I see.
So as a result, this third and fourth freedom traffic which I mentioned can be affected.
I see.
So that means the serving carriers will have an operational difficulty. So therefore, fifth freedom traffic we want to look at as to what would be the final scenario and approve it. But still it is open to be discussion.
Can we sort of explain almost graphically what the fifth freedom was? So it's the ability of an airline to pick passengers from another country.
Can we take an example?
Yes, let's do an example.
Yes. Now, fifth freedom traffic is that if we consider
let's say Sri Lankan Airlines.
Yes, Sri Lankan Airlines. Sri Lankan Airlines go to Dubai,
Yeah.
and drop passengers from there, and for the empty seats they pick up passengers from Dubai to go to London.
Right.
Then we are exercising the freedom traffic in Dubai.
I see. Okay.
So now by doing that, what will happen is, now there could have been some air services between Dubai and London, and by we getting into that the market,
Yeah.
we are diluting the commercial viability of that particular sector. So that is the reason why we say that we encourage third and fourth freedom, but when it comes to fifth freedom, because they are going to affect adversely on the third and fourth,
Yeah.
we want to discourage, in a sense. We have to look at as to what would be the final effect on that.
And the biggest market of air travelers, be it for business or to visiting relatives and so on, where is it from? Which destination is it from?
At the moment it is from Mali. Mali is number one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And how come? Is that because they go there and come here? Or
No, basically I think most of the passengers coming to Mali, because we have more than 5 scheduled flights between Mali and Colombo per day.
I see.
And there is a lot of traffic which I think goes to Mali, and that is the reason why it has become number one. Second, Dubai. Third, I think as I recall, Doha. And all hubs have become our main passenger generators. Yes.
And Mr. Nimasri, as open as possible and being brutally frank, why hasn't the nationally owned, state-owned budget airline, why do you think its performance has been lackluster?
No, in my view, it doesn't have really the characteristic of a budget airline.
Right.
Now, the difference between the full service carrier and the budget airline is that budget airline minimize the cost and maximize the efficiency.
Yeah.
Now, unless you run it in that context,
Yeah.
You have a difficulty of competing with your other people in the market. Now, if you look at all these budget carriers, they have not gone for old aircraft.
Yeah.
They have brought brand new aircraft. By buying brand new aircraft, they make sure that aircraft is in there where they can make money, and visits to the maintenance facility for scheduled maintenance or unscheduled maintenance is less.
Yes.
Turnaround time is assured. You run on time, and also they by going for the brand new aircraft, the operational costs are lower. So there are a lot of things which help you to bring down the costs.
And would you say, final question, would you say that the ability or the success of a budget airline is to be passionate about cost?
Yes.
And how passionate are you about the future for Sri Lanka's tourism and aviation industry?
I think I am very much.
You're passionate, and
yes.
are you hopeful? Are you
Yeah,
confident that this country will turn it all around?
Certainly, it will happen very soon, and I think now very soon KLM will start operating flights to Sri Lanka.
Right.
And with
that's after a long time.
Long time, and in fact they pull out about 20 years back.
Yeah.
And even at the time of pulling, we were pleading them, don't pull out, because they were so important to us from tourism point of view and from reputation point of kind of thing. So with KLM rethinking to resume flights to Colombo, I think there will be various other carriers who will follow the suit. So I am very optimistic.
Wonderful. Well, that's it from the Hot Seat today, but we'll be back same time, same place next week. Do watch the Hot Seat only on TV1.